Hey, what's up, party people? Today we are doing another insights into the making of Shadows of Zana, and we're gonna get into it real quick here. I took notes today, so let's start with that. So first thing I got on my notebook list here is world building, and this is the first time I've made like an RPG, like with an overworld, and it was fun to make. It really was. Connecting everything into a sequence is like, it was good stuff. I had a good time. Oh, I died. The world building aspect, I think it's easy to have things that are really irrelevant to the narrative and the story overall, even though you want to put them in because you think it's like, oh, world building, this is helpful. I'm going to establish what the diet of this town is. Cool, but this doesn't necessarily add anything to the overall game experience. And it's cool if you want to get into world building, because I really like it. I think most people really like it. People that like developing games, D&D players, things of that nature, tabletop RPGs. But it's effort that doesn't necessarily go anywhere except for your own enjoyment. And I think there is something to be said between the difference of like narrative design, storytelling, and world building. They are all connected, but they can also all exist individually. Let's take Romeo and Juliet, for example. That is a story with a narrative, but it can exist in kind of any world setting, because a boy and a girl from like opposing interested families is timeless, and it can exist in a very wide variety of situations. And I did a lot of world building and like backstory and setting backstory, and it was really helpful to keep me on track, but I don't think it added anything for the players. It didn't add much. I won't say it didn't add anything. It just didn't add much. And I guess that just comes down to my skill as a storyteller. And that's okay. I'm aware of this now, and I will do better next time. So just something I wanted to talk about briefly is that world building, although very fun and it's good to keep you on track, you can sink a lot of time into it and not get too much back. Now, I want to talk about narrative because I think this is really overlooked and not talked about enough for especially indie devs. This is something I noticed with narrative design. It is exceptionally helpful to keep you on track. That's what it's very, very good for. It gives you a framework to mechanics, character design, level design, bosses, aesthetic, tile sets, things like that. And I think establishing a narrative theme early is really, really beneficial. So the narrative theme in Shadows of Zana is obviously shadows. That's well, I mean, we're not in shadow form right particularly at this moment, but we will get there. But establishing a narrative theme early, I think, is really important. And in Shadows of Zana, we have the shadows. And I wanted to, like, actually have some sort of kind of like psychological theme attached to the visual theme. See, now we're in shadow mode. Am I going to make it? Yeah, we made it. The psychological theme for the shadow aspect is mostly for the NPCs. Just what the NPCs say and what they believe in the game world. So the shadows on the psychological aspect with the NPCs are emotional and based on memory. Like, a painful memory is like an event in the past in your head casting a shadow onto the present, which really affects people's emotional state. Painful memories and regret, like, they ruin human beings. And it's not something that's like really talked about very much in our modern society. We just don't. We neglect our minds and we neglect our hearts. So that is what the shadow aspect is also meant to represent in terms of narrative theme, is memory. Okay, so just a little backstory about my obsession with memory. I hit my head very hard, my face actually. I hit my face very hard breakdancing. And I didn't knock myself out at that moment, but I lost consciousness and I was like awake and functioning, but I don't remember any of this. So I had like a bout of amnesia, and I woke up, I guess the next day, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was, and I had to like piece my life back together and my memory. And I was in a state of being like outside my ego, and my memory was kind of wiped. So I existed as like a blank slate human being, and it's an inexplicable experience, so I don't want to go too far into it. But I had mild amnesia, and like, this is a life-changing event. It is. You can't like undo amnesia. You go to the doctor and they're just kind of like, yeah, we don't know how to fix amnesia. And it's like, you know what? I ain't mad at you. No worries. So I put like the memory kind of narrative theme in the game because of that. It's just like a reflection of myself as a person. Same as the shadows. Like, I really like the dark. I genuinely enjoy just like sitting in the dark, no lights, just stretch, hang out, meditate. I do like the dark. I also like the sunshine and being outside. So I genuinely like both. So I made a game with both. That's just some insight into where I was coming from in terms of narrative theme. And if you play this game and you're talking to NPCs and they're like talking about some event that happened in the past that they regret, they feel horrible about, now you know why. So there's that. And I really think that this game, Shadows of Zana, it has a lot of subtle insight into my psyche. Like, there's an exceptional amount of me in this game, and I think that's really cool. Like, looking back and playing it, it's like, man, this is like really like deep metaphysical mental abstractions of my psyche are like put into the game design and narrative of this game, and I think that's actually really cool. Did it execute into like this amazing game that is just so deep and profound? Probably not, but whatever. I think these things, it's more important to understand that they give you direction. That is really important when other devs are like, how do I find motivation? I feel burnt out. I don't know what to do. I can't finish this game. I think this is largely due to a lack of narrative design that gives you direction. I zipped off there. So I think it's really important to establish narrative design very early and take the narrative design from yourself. I think this is, you're gonna get a lot of benefit out of it. Like, just if you are a musician in your youth, or you're still a musician, there's a lot to work with that in game design, like the concepts of harmony, changing keys, chord progression, inverted chords, like the relative and major minors. You can establish game design elements with all of those concepts. It's just up to your mind to sort that out as best as you can. Alright, what else do I got on here? Okay, the contrast between the light and the shadow, visually, moving on from narrative stuff and me having amnesia and all that jazz. It was quite difficult. Hey, shot power up. It was quite difficult to balance just the saturation of shadow form. It was, because if it's too dark, you can't see it. If it's too bright, it's hard to look at. It's like not, it doesn't feel good on your eyeballs. You get like whiteout. It was difficult to balance just the saturation of the color mode. And I changed the saturation and like color of, not the color, only the saturation and brightness and whatnot on the shadow form, like tile sets and backgrounds. I did it so many times. It like the OCD was real, man. I changed it so many times moving forward through, like, over the course of the 3 years. I probably changed it like 15 times. Like every few months, it's like, I gotta change it. And it was just like OCD in some ways. Like, this is what shadow form looks like, where the character is just barely not black, and then most things you can interact with are black. It's just draw black function. And I know I have to hit this, so I'm just gonna hit it. And like, this is all right. The tile sets are a bit brighter. They're more gray than they are black, and I think it like worked out. It's decent, but it took a lot of time to get here, to just establish like, okay, what's the appropriate like saturation and contrast. So here we are. All right, since I'm in the secret area, I'm not gonna make it. Oh, that was close. Since we're in a secret little area with the shadows and the contrast, I want to talk about my philosophy with the narrative and how that translated into secrets. So, shadows of Zana, right? Shadows. Shadows of the mind. So what is a shadow of the mind? Well, that could be a secret. It's something you're keeping secret. You're casting a shadow over information in your own head and keeping it from other people. So the game world, there's a lot of secrets in this game. There really are. A lot. I'm gonna have to make an extensive, like, find all the secrets YouTube series, and it's gonna have a lot going on. So subscribe if you are interested in that, because I will be putting that together as a series, all secrets. So the shadows of the mind part. This is reflected a lot with the dialogue between the Queen and the Phantom of Zana, which is an NPC character, and the Queen is just what the game world and the game is based around. It's her heart and her memories, and the like exceptionally powerful shadow of guilt and shame and regret and keeping secrets. I don't want to spoil anything because it's part of the story, but it is like events in the past that she feels really awful about that were kind of beyond her control, but she still feels really bad and feels like it's her problem. So that's how it is with the NPCs. Now with the player character, the shadows of the mind, the shadow aspect, is the player is kind of going through a situation, the game world, of the Queen's guilt and regret and shame, those shadows of her emotions. But in the game world for the player character, it is represented like you are exploring the heart and mind of the Queen or yourself. And if you explore the corners and the hidden parts of your psyche and your heart and your mind, and you master these, you become OP. So that's why there's a lot of secrets and power-ups. It's meant to represent the narrative aspect of shadows. And this goes like in real life. The only way you really get better at things and improve as a person is you have to confront negative aspects of yourself. And these don't necessarily have to be negative emotional traits, just like not being particularly good at something. It's like, well, that's negative. It's not terrible, but you have to practice to get better. And practice is just doing it. It's exploring your own weaknesses and vulnerabilities and lack of skill. So this is translated into the game world as like looking for secrets. If you spend the time to look for hidden walls, hidden platforms, things of this nature, you will become OP because you have invested time to master your own darkness and your own shadows. I'm probably going to end up going into like an existential rant. I think I've said enough about that, what I want to say. Let's move on to the next thing. Okay, platforming philosophy. So, I've said this a few times. I am from a family of dancers. I used to break dance a lot in my youth. Now I swing dance. And in swing dancing, there is the concept and application of leading and following. One dance member, usually the man, is the lead, and the woman is usually the follower. So dancing is like a really, really big part of my psyche. Like I'm always thinking about it, subconsciously at least. So my philosophy for game design, right, is this is a female character, so she's the follow, and the game world is the lead. So the game world is leading the steps of the player character. But in swing dancing, right, so I'm a male, I'm a lead. I know what leading is about. And I can say that as a lead, in say like a count of 8, like an 8 count bar, I'm only leading for like 2, maybe 3 counts out of 8. And that's just like a directional kind of cue, or what like a spin, a little combo, a twirl. But I'm not leading for all 8 counts. That is just not how it works. I'm only leading for like usually 2, sometimes only 1, sometimes 3. But just something you notice, right? That the follow, they have like 5 counts in 8 of freedom. So they actually have more freedom than not, even though they're the follow. So that was that's how I went about making the game. Is the game world is meant to give you direction and structure, but not all the time. And you have your own ways to get through it. There's, like, you can shoot, you can slash, you can slide in terms of combat, in terms of platforming. At this moment in the game, I don't have very many platforming skills, but little dance scene. But let's say you are trying to move vertically, and there's a wall grab, but there is also, you can just double jump. So you have options right there. And the mechanical platforming idea that this game started with was grapple hook swing into wall grab. That's what I started with to program, and just the platforming feel. That's what I went with. I just wanted to establish that platforming kind of mechanics. So it's grapple hook swing into wall grab, but that is also a swing dancing move. It would be called a swing out. So again, this reflects just my game design structure. It's swing dancing. The player is doing a swing out with the grapple hook and the wall grab. So I'm not gonna demonstrate or get YouTube videos of a swing out, but I'm sure most of you guys have seen it. You would know what I'm talking about. But that was the motion in my head, the dance. It's like, oh, this is a swing out, but it's grapple hook swing into wall grab. Just a little something, so you guys understand where I'm coming from in that regard as well. All right, ooh, nice. We can get some good power-ups here. Biggity bam. There we go. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about game play right at this moment. But level design is definitely from dancing. And this right here, everything has a rhythmic pulse. And things are actually lined up quite good through this rhythmic pulse. Like all the swinging platforms and pendulums, blades, vertical moving platforms, horizontal moving platforms. Everything is lined up quite well because I designed it to have a rhythmic pulse. Because I dance. I dance even when I make video games. That's how it is. All right, so that would be moving into. Oh, getting shot by a laser while I look at my notebook. The rhythmic pulse of the game is also from the dance aspect. There we go. All right, what else do I got on here? Okay, narrative setting and storytelling. This is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Like, writing is definitely a skill. That's why AAA game studios have an entire team of writers. That's how it is. So it was difficult to, it wasn't difficult to come up with the story, and it wasn't difficult to come up with a narrative theme. But it was difficult to, piece them together so it was actually wow, this is cool. I think that aspect of it, storytelling, is different than just having a narrative and having a setting and doing your world building. The storytelling aspect is, I think, the real valuable skill. The other stuff, it's not too difficult, and it's also really fun, so people like doing it. But storytelling, it's a lot harder than I thought. It really is, and I think this is where maybe dancing actually worked against me a little bit, is that when you b-boy, like, you don't really care what people have to say. You just really don't. You're like, show me what you got. Show me your moves. Moonwalk into a backflip, like, right now. Don't care what you have to say. Show me something cool. So I think this kind of philosophy, which is built into my psyche pretty much, it worked against me a bit, where it's like, I don't really know what these people should say. It's like, how would they say things? Or you just fight. Which I think is acceptable, because a lot of games nowadays that are successful, they're way more based on, like, fighting and looting than they are about intricate story in general. There are definitely games with really good stories, and they focus on stories, but I would say overall, people are much more inclined to just the mechanics of combat and the structure of the power-up progression. And that's cool. My next game, I do want to establish that a lot more. I said this in the last video, and I will say it again real quick. There are 3 things that I want to implement in my next game. And that is improved combat, a skill tree system, and an inventory system with items. I want to use most of the mechanics and game feel and flow of Shadows of Zana, and just add on some stuff to improve combat. I want to have a skill tree system, and I want to have an inventory. But that's for the next game. I don't want to talk about that too much. And the last thing I want to talk about, I guess I did talk about this a little bit, but I'll talk about it again a little bit, is that this game is, there's a lot of meat in it, and I think that is a really good thing all around. And if you are a game developer, like, look inside yourself to find structure and ideas. Like, you don't have to meditate non-stop, but just think to yourself, like, what do I actually do? How do I actually live my life? What do I actually believe? And just put them in the game. And they don't have to be complicated. Like, this game has the mechanical and aesthetic and narrative concept of Shadows, and I like the dark. I'm not obsessed with the dark, but I do like silence in the dark. I like silence and solitude. I'm the type of person where I need a lot of alone time. I'm very social. Very social. Like, I swing dance, right? You have to be a social person to, like, go to a community center and hold hands with a stranger and spin around with them and kick it to music. Like, this is a social activity. But because I am also very social, I need a lot of alone time to unwind. And that's how this main character is. She genuinely likes to be alone, but she's very talkative and open when she's around other people. And there's other NPCs, like, they take note, and they're like, man, you talk to yourself a lot. It's like, yeah, well, what you gonna, I mean, I'm talking to myself, like, kind of right now. I mean, there's people watching, but, like, I'm not having a conversation, I'm just talking to myself. So here I am. Oh! Alright, when it points at that skull, I put that skull in. Yeah, there we go. I did it! I did it! Alright. Yeah, just looking inside yourself to find direction is... you're gonna get a lot out of it. Now, I do think that there is... okay, what room is this? Hold on. 124A. Alright. The music changes here and the tile set's jumbled up. Anyway, moving on. So I started learning how to program and doing game development when I was 35, right? So this was kind of after my whole breakdancing excursion, and well after I had hit my head and got amnesia and I got hit by a car. This was like slightly after that though. But anyway, so I started learning how to program and getting into video game development when I was 35. So that's 3 decades of life as a human being, kind of going into the psychological abstractions of game design. And I don't think a younger person is really going to have this advantage. Not that I'm saying you're going to fail as a game developer, like you don't have what it takes. I'm just saying that you don't have as much life experience to really like work off. And that's okay. All right, here we go. Let's talk to this fairy. Before you say anything insightful about the human condition, I want to know why the nature realm has coins floating around for me to pick up. Oh, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Good talk. So, let's just establish this right now. If you need a game that has Wu-Tang quotes from fairies, main characters inspired by belly dancing moms, and shadow mechanics and aesthetics inspired by cats, with level design inspired by a washed up b-boy that now swing dances, Shadows of Zana is the game for you. Bam! I think we should use that for a marketing reel. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna end the video there. That's exactly what it needs to be.